Good day, everyone. My name is Kimberly Petalino, and I'll be presenting a critical review of the paper Sustainable Urban Infrastructure Innovations in Civil Engineering for Smart Cities. So, from the perspective of innovation and technology management, this study is a perfect case of how traditional industries like civil engineering are navigating the disruption caused by digital transformation. So, it explores the management of smart technologies to build resilient urban ecosystems. First, let's take a look at the innovators behind the research. So, the work is a cross border collaboration between the USA, Cyprus, and Pakistan, led by a lead can. So, in innovation management, we often talk about open innovation and cross disciplinary networks. So, this diverse team structure is a crucial because it allows the study of assess technology transfer and adoption challenges across different economic and regulatory environments. So, what were the strategic objectives of the study? First, redefine role. So, they aim to redefine the civil engineer's role, moving from static construction to dynamic smart city management. Second, technology identification or integration. So, they sought to identify specific emerging technologies like LOT sensors and smart materials that are ripe for adoption. Lastly, bridge the implementation gap. Crucially, they analyze the value of that. So the gap between theoretical promise of a technology and its actual commercial and policy viability. So the central research question addresses a core technology management challenge. How can innovations be integrated into existing legacy infrastructures? They weren't just asking what technologies to use, but how to manage the integration into complex urban systems. They also ask what are the barriers. So, understanding these resilient points is key to managing the diffusion of any innovation. So, to assess these innovations, the author used mixed method design. So, this is a robust approach for technology assessment. So, they combine descriptive analysis. So, to understand the current technological landscape, the state of the art, and explanatory research to predict future trends. So, by combining case studies, the market analysis, surveys, stakeholder analysis, and simulation, the prototype testing. So, they created a holistic view of the innovation ecosystems. For data gathering, they perform a comprehensive stakeholder analysis, a vital step in technology management. They consulted 12 subject matter experts and surveyed 150 industry professionals. This helps determine the readiness level of the workforce. Technically, they use BIM and GIS simulation in our field. This is akin to digital twinning. So, testing the performance and viability of a technology is a virtual environment before committing capital. They validated their finding using triangulation. So, this is critical for establishing the reliability of the new technologies. So, they cross reference qualitative expert opinions with quantitative survey data and objective simulation results. So, this ensures that the identified barriers, like the institutional inertia, are not just perceived problems, but statistically significant hurdles to innovation adoption. So let's look at the value proposition of these technologies. So these simulation results quantify the energy gains. Energy tech. So green roofs and solar integration reduce energy consumption by 22 to 35% in BIM models. And water tech. Permeable pavement improves stormwater management efficiency by 40%. So, for a technology manager, these metrics are the proof of concept needed to justify investment and drive adoption. So, the paper analyzed the technology implementation strategies of five cities. First, the Singapore represents a successful top down implementation with its Smart Nation initiative. Next, the Copenhagen shows successful niche adoption in blueprint infrastructure. However, Songdo and Masdar City serve as a cautionary tables. They highlight a classic innovation failure. So, focusing on the technology rather than user, Songdo's law engagement proves that without a user centric approach, even the most advanced tech will fail to diffuse. So, the authors categorize the innovation into three pillars. First one, digital twinning, DBIM or GIS. So these represent process innovation, changing how we plan and manage life cycles. Second, the smart materials. These are product innovations such as self-healing concrete or the photocatalytic cement to extend lifespan and reduce pollution. And third, modular design. This is a supply chain innovation, so moving construction offsite to improve efficiency. So they shift toward prefabricated construction. So why is adoption slow? So in this section, identify the structural barrier to innovation. So first is the economic barriers or the high cost and the lack of incentive. So the high capex or capital expenditure prevents developing markets from adopting smart tech. Since smart tech requires massive upfront investment, a major barrier for developing nature, and also the absence of government mandates or financial breaks for sustainable adoption. Next is the institutional inertia. So this is path dependence. So the resistance of established institution to change old codes and standards. And lastly, the fragmented policy. So innovation requires an ecosystem approach. So when departments works in silos, they sample the integration required for smart cities. So we also see technical and social lags. First, the skills gap or the absorptive capacity. So the industry lacks the skilled workforce, the analytics and system thinking to actually use these new tools. And the new risk profile or the cybersecurity risk. So LOT introduces cybersecurity risks that traditional engineers aren't trained to manage. And security is often an afterthought in civil design. And lastly, the social acceptance. So, technology adoption is a social process. So, if the human computer interaction isn't designed well, the community will reject the smart infrastructure. So, here's the takeaway. First is the role innovation. So we are managing technical socio-technical system that's just concrete. So the civil engineers is no longer just a builder, but a steward to complex urban ecosystem. And strategic alignment or integration. So technology is an enabler, not the strategy itself. So it requires policy support and ethical frameworks to function. And lastly, the resilience. So the goal of innovation here is not just efficiency but resilience. So designing systems that can adapt to future disruption, climate or social. So in short, successful innovation requires managing the ecosystem, not just text. So that concludes the review. So these papers offers a blueprint for managing the digital transformation of the built environment. And that's all. Thank you.